Good morning. It's kind of nice being done planting corn at just a little slower pace in the morning. I even had time to shave today. How about that? John Deere dealer is already on their way down with the line to fix the 9R. That's good. And they're going to take a look at that 8R and their steering issues that we had last night while they're here. So I thought I'd show you that line on this 9R that was giving us trouble. It is this one right here. This steel clamp goes on this bolt and it rubbed a hole, and apparently that is a coolant line, and yeah, that's the problem. So runs from up by the, well, between the turbos, I guess. This is the variable geometry turbo and the actuator there, and yeah, so that was where it was leaking. They've got the line, they're on their way, should be here any minute actually to swap that out. Should be pretty quick, easy change, and we'll fill her up with coolant, and then we can get this tractor hooked back up to the disc. So we are getting really close to wrapping up the soybean planting as well. Phil has 3 different fields that we need to do yet, and I believe somewhere just over 200 acres, about 215 to go. One of those fields, we're waiting on some beans to come in. I'm got those beans coming, some more beans coming on Friday. And I had what I wanted, and then a customer needed another box of beans, and so I gave him one of ours, and I thought I'll just replace it, and I would have them by the time we needed them. I was wrong. I didn't get them by the time we needed them, but it's a field that we want to put wheat in this fall, and so I want to put early beans, and I don't have any more, so I wanted to make sure we get them. So they're coming tomorrow. We can wait until tomorrow to do that one. The other 2, we got to disc yet and do some tillage work. So as soon as this tractor gets ready, or it's working, then we'll get moving on that, and Phil can keep planting here later this morning, hopefully. In other news, 2 things. Our backhoe's coming today. That's exciting. So we'll get that here, and Phil said he's got some rocks for us to go pick up with it as soon as it gets here. So we'll get to drive it a little bit, which is good. And Dad is working on the spraying. He's out spraying now and trying to keep that all, or get caught back up and getting the corn and the beans sprayed. He's got a lot to do, so. Well, we got one tractor fixed. Brock's at the farm. He's getting the disc hooked up to that, and they're diagnosing on this one. So hopefully they figure something out, or at least figure out what the problem is, so we can be on the road to getting it fixed. They also made it sound like they might be able to clear the codes out, which would mean I could get it home. That would be good. Should we see how our corn's coming up? I'm sure it's growing by now, right? Oh, right there. Planted perfectly. Look at that. Is there a sprout? Oh. No sprout. It's a joke, guys. I planted it 12 hours ago. Sometimes, I tell you what, so I don't know what exactly the deal is here, but there is a sensor something, and it's actually behind the rear tires. It has to do with the steering system. He tapped on it, and now it's working. Apparently these sensors get loose, or something comes apart inside of them, and so we need to replace the sensor, but it seems to be working at the moment. How long it will stay that way, who knows? But at least we know the issue, and it's relatively easy, cheap fix, so good deal. Well, the big horse is back up and running, and we got the disc hooked up, and we got one of the 2 fields we've got left to do here. We're gonna get this rolling. I'm just getting Brock set up. He's gonna run this today, so I was just making a round. I stuck our new Gen 4 monitor in here, that 4240 that we've basically used to map fields and spread clover seed so far, and Brock wanted to run it, and I said, all right. The issue is if Dad or Phil get in the tractor, they have no idea how to run it, and so we'll have to disconnect it if that happens to be the case. But this is a good spot to play with it, learn it a little bit, figure out how it runs. It is the same setup as what was in that demo tractor yesterday, so I have a very, very small understanding of how it works based on that. And what I've run it so far, I like it. It's just taking a little bit to figure it all out. So this shouldn't take real long. We'll fly across here. I bet Phil will be here with the planter before we even get done with the field. And away he goes. Dusty. It is very dusty. So we are getting late in the season. We've had some heat. Some of the weeds are starting to get away from us. It's really just a little bit right here behind this house. The guy used to have a dirt bike course, whatever, track for his kids here, and Dad took it out I think last year was the first year we sort of farmed. Basically where the edge of this weed starts that way is all sort of new. Out here in the field you can see there are weeds, but they're not as big, not as bad. So the disc should do a pretty good job taking them out and level this up, get us some nice loose dirt. Phil can come in here and plant this and we'll be closer to being done. All right, I'm gonna head back to the farm. I did get a call from the John Deere tech after I left the field there. They kept looking at that tractor and they found a different problem than what we thought it was. So we thought it was that sensor, right? Because you wiggled the sensor and it made it work. Turns out it's the wire harness to the sensor. There's a wire that had rubbed through and was shorting out to some steel hydraulic line or something, and that was causing the issue. He said the wire's not broken, it's just rubbing, so he moved it away so it won't rub. But we got to get the tractor back to the farm, pull it in the shop, and that wire is right behind the rear tires and the duals, and so we need to take the duals off, or at least slide them out so we can get in there a little bit better and either replace the wire or wrap it real good so that it's not going to rub. But that's, again, cheap, easy fix. Just going to take a little bit of time. Dad took me to get this tractor, ran just fine down the road. So you guys see all of this spilled fertilizer on the frame of this planter? I don't like that, and I don't want to let it sit there for as long as it's going to take us to get to cleaning this up. So I'm going to power wash just a little bit to get some of that heavy fertilizer stuff off and hopefully not rust our planter into a pile of whatever. Well, that's better. Obviously we'll give the planter a full cleaning at some point, but I'm not ready to do that because I'm not entirely convinced we're done planting. We may have some replanting stuff yet, we'll see. So you gotta wait at least 2 or 3 weeks after you plant before you clean the planters up. But that fertilizer, we just spilled it last night, and I wanted to get that off of there. While I don't think we're done planting corn, I am unhooking the corn planter because we've got to work on this tractor, for one, and we need that thing. We got to start side dressing. Goodness, there are only 11 hydraulic hoses and 7 electrical connections on the planter to the tractor. Crazy. Well, since planting's over, you guys are ready to get back to the winter shop work projects, right? Yeah, kinda. So here's the deal with this tractor. There's a sensor or a wire leading to a sensor that's got a bare spot on it. It is located back in there, which we cannot get to. So we've got to take this tire off and slide this tire out to get in there. So shop work it is for a little bit. I think we got it. This is heavy because there's the weights on it. I'm just gonna slide it down, set it down so that the weight's on the ground, and leave it just like that, because we don't need to take this other one off. All we have to do is slide this hub, and we can use this bolt here to do it. I might have to get the book out and read because I'm not sure exactly. This one's a little different than the 40-20. I loosened all these bolts up. Now when I turn this one, the tire should move. Oh yeah, I probably better need to jack it back up. I had to let it down so it wouldn't spin on me. Whoops. Try again. Yeah, that's what I thought was gonna happen. I'll try the short cheater bar before we get the big cheater bar. Yeah, okay. Just needed a little more coaxing is all. Hey Dad, yeah. If we had tracks I wouldn't have to do this. What are you doing? Moving the tire out. Why? So I can get to the wire that's broken behind it. It was worth a shot. Now somewhere in here there's a wire that's rubbing. I am honestly not sure which one it is, and I might have to call the tech and have him point me in the right direction. I'll crawl up in here a little bit better. Might have to do a little cleaning, it looks like. Let's see what we can find. Found it. Right there. Well, the wire itself looks to be pretty good. We just got to get it to stop rubbing. I hate to just wrap it in electrical tape, but I think that's probably what's going to end up happening until I get time to more permanently fix it. And I'm sure somebody would ask me, why don't you just replace the whole wire harness? Well, because that wire harness goes from, right there, up here. It wides together with that wire harness, continues up, and then it becomes part of this wire harness. And you do not want to know how much that wire harness is going to cost, I bet. So, fix it we do. Okay, well, we got in there, we found out what the problem is, now I got to figure out how to fix it. I'm not just going to wrap it in some electrical tape and zip tie it up out of the way and call it good enough, because it'll never get addressed again until it becomes a major problem. I asked Josh, our tech, what he would do, and he said the best thing to do would be to take the plug apart, the wire harness and the plug, and slip some shrink wrap or something on there and do that, or just put a whole new end on it and cut the wire shorter. But I'm not doing that. I do not want to take that plug apart because I don't have the right tools and ability to fix it if I screw something up. Man, I'm dirty. So then I said, so dip it in a can of Flex Seal then, huh? He's worried about water getting inside the wire and causing corrosion. And so I asked him that, and he said, well, there's liquid electrical tape that would be better. And so we're gonna go see if we can find some. I don't have any. I've seen this stuff before. It seems like pretty good stuff, but it's lunchtime anyway. And since I'm not busy planting, I can go eat lunch and go stop at the hardware store. Also, we got to check out the house stuff here. After all of that activity last week, nothing has happened this week, but we got a pile of trusses. Holy cow, we got a pile of trusses. I hope, cool. Got what we need. My camera must be dirty. Woof. There, that's a little better. So we're gonna put a couple coats of this stuff on, and then we'll try and zip tie it up so it's not rubbing against them steel lines, and then we get to put it all back together. Hey Brock, how'd this mud get here? I'm just wondering. All right, so I gotta let that liquid tape stuff cool or dry for about 10 minutes before we put our second coat on. We're gonna hook up to this anhydrous bar this afternoon, but Phil had been doing a little bit of work while we were kind of waiting for things to dry out to it, and so we gotta put a few things back together. So these valves right here are all mounted to the arm on these L brackets, that black piece right there, and they're a little flimsy. And so here is one that he took off. And I mean, it's sufficient, but it's not very thick steel, and it's awfully thin through here. So he took that and had some steel cut and made up, and we got some much heavier, thicker, better brackets made up. I'm not going to worry about changing those two that he did not take off yet, but this one here we got to put back together. So I'm going to try and get this reinstalled. Well, that is much better. I've got it all back together. I still need to tighten this clamp up and this swivel on there, so I don't have the right wrenches. We'll do that yet. Well, I just made this job 100 times harder. So you know that bolt that you had to turn to move the tire? The one that's supposed to be right there? Yeah, it's not there anymore. It's right there. It's getting serious now. So what's happened is it's tilted, and that's wedged itself on there where we can't move it, so we got to lift that weight and support it somehow to get it to slide, so I can get in behind there and get the wedges out, get the bolt out that I broke, replace it, and then try and put it all back together again. That weight there is 1,800 pounds. 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 1,800 poun Free. All right. Well, once you get it on the ground, it comes apart fairly easily. Take those bolts out. There's two Allen-headed cap screws. And then this plate comes out from the back, and here's the wedges that lock the tire in place on the axle. And that gear right there, that is what is supposed to move it in and out, and that is where the bolt is that we broke. So, I'm not entirely sure how that comes out of there just yet. Got to be a snap ring or something, or maybe it's all one part and you just buy the whole top wedge. I don't really know, but that's what we need to replace. All right, made a phone call to the dealer, and turns out this is one piece here with the bolt and the pinion gear and everything, so they got one coming. It'll be in tomorrow morning, I assume. So we are going to spend a little bit of time cleaning some of that mud and stuff that's caked in there that I'll never be able to get to again, right, out. And then we're going to go scout some crops, and we're going to let this sit until tomorrow. So, dang, bummer. Guess we're not hooking the anhydrous bar up today. Oh, well, it's still, we got plenty of time. I don't really need to be side dressing yet. The corn's still small. In fact, we'll go look at it and see, but I think we can get started as soon as we can get everything hooked up and going. So anyway, not what I wanted to do today, not what I intended to do today. Not how you want your tractor to look on May 20th. Okay, well, now that we've got the tire out of the way, we can see that wire quite a bit better. It's right here. I got it coated up pretty good. I might put another one on because I can get to it now. Yeah. Okay. Better get this stuff tightened up before I forget. It's a little warm and humid today. Corn loves it. Me, this is why I work in the shop in the winter and not the summer. Because I'm sure this video's not long enough already. Let's go do some crop scouting. And we're gonna start right out here. So this is our plot, corn plot, and it is where we started planting a week ago tomorrow. So I don't expect it to be up, but I'm curious how close it is. Another day or two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're right there. You got to dig a little bit to find them through a lot of loose dirt. Right there it is. But they're definitely coming. They don't have a lot to do, and all the dirt on top of it is soft, loose, and dry. Not too bad for 6 days. This is our snow corn, that first corn planted on the, I believe, 17th of April. That got the snow and cold weather on it right after we planted. It's all here and looks really good. I thought about coming out here and taking some stand counts, just see what we ended up with or what we got for population. But it's turning green across the field. This is great. Well, we had 30 and 31. That's pretty darn good. So the way we can count stands, and what we care about is plants per acre, right? Population per acre. And we planted at variable rate, but somewhere usually around 32,000 plants per acre is kind of the standard. But I'll plant anywhere from 25 to 40,000 depending on the hybrid and the soil type. I'll have to look at my planting map to see exactly what we planted right here. But if you measure out 17 feet 5 inches, that is equal to 1/1000th of an acre. So if you, in 30-inch rows. So if you count how many plants you have in one row in 17 feet 5 inches and multiply that by 1,000, it gives you a rough idea of how many plants per acre. What I like to do is count 2 rows and take an average. So we had 30 and 31. That means we have on average 30,500 plants per acre. I'll take that. For what everybody was telling me was going to happen when I planted ahead of the cold and snow, that's a win. And this corn is, yeah, it looks good. I'm happy with it. So we're going to jump over here and look at some beans, specifically some March beans. Well, they're here. You can row them. They look good. I thought they might be a little bigger than this by now, but we're getting, here's the unifoliate leaves unfolded, and we've got the first trifoliate starting to come out. cool. You can see a little bit of damage. That's cold weather damage. But they're here and they're gonna live, and I'm happy. I'm really happy with that. That's awesome. So I can do the same thing with beans, except for we're 15-inch rows. So when I count my 2, that's 1/1000th of an acre. And on these beans, I planted 160,000 seeds per acre. In that spot, I just counted 130. That's, wow. I planted 160,000 plants per acre on March 17th. And on May 20th, there is 130,000 of them that survived. Yeah, that's a win. This is so awesome. I'm really excited to see what the yield's gonna do and whether there's gonna be a significant yield increase, no yield difference, or if it will hurt them at all. You know, there was some plants that didn't look great, that definitely had some frost damage to them, but they survived it. And I don't know. I think there's plenty out there. I mean, they say you can plant as low as 80,000 and get a decent stand, and you'll have 100% of your yield, or at least close to it. So we've got enough beans there to do it. The question just becomes, what is it gonna do? What's the difference gonna be? And is that early planting date gonna help us or hurt us or do anything else? I don't know. I think they'll be really good, but that's why we did the experiment. This is the bean plot field. So planted the same day as the corn plot. Let's just see. Whoa, right there. Wow. Look at that. Wow, yeah, them beans are right there. 6 days. That's incredible. Sweet. All right, well, better come check on them in another day or two if we're gonna get any kind of emergence scores, aren't we? Quick walkthrough on this field. These beans were planted on the 19th, so also before the snow. They are here and look just fine. There's some volunteer corn. Yeah, that's fun. We'll have to spray that and kill it later. Yep, look good here. There is some crust starting to form on this ground. It's getting quite hard, and so anything that's not emerged that was planted before last Friday, you know, the early 2 windows, is going to struggle to come up a little bit. So that's why we're checking some of this stuff. I really want to go see some of that corn that was planted between like the 27th and 28th and what it looks like. So we're heading to those fields next. All right, so this is a field of corn that we planted, I believe, on the 28th of April. And this is the corn on corn field, and this is the one that I've been the most concerned about, because driving by it I couldn't see it and couldn't row it. But that's partially the residue, it's partially the fact that clearly it's got weeds growing and it's shading the rows green and you can't see anything. But getting out here, it looks better than I thought it was going to. So this is the one I was concerned we might have some replant on. Initial reaction just looking at it, I don't think so, but we're gonna do a stand count and see what we got. It doesn't look great, but it doesn't look bad enough that I'm gonna tear it out and start over. About 25,000 plants per acre right here. That's not great, but it's above what I would consider unacceptable. So that one stays. We'll have to look a few other places. Here it was closer to 30,000. One side I got 31 and 28, so almost 30. That's good. I feel better. I don't feel great. I feel better. Now here's another field that was planted that same time, maybe the 27th, and it is just beautiful. I mean, look at it. We're gonna do a stand count, but this is almost picture perfect here. 31.5, that's pretty good. We do have a skip here. Oh, there's the corn plant. So it wasn't a planter mistake, it just couldn't come up for whatever reason. And that may still have grown, but it isn't gonna produce like the other ones. And then right here, there was a double. Now, if I was really, really scientific and interested, I should come out here with flags and drop GPS points so I can come back and find it and watch that develop all year, but I'm not. So, yeah. I'm happy with this, though. This is great. One more field to check. Let's look at how our wheat is doing and get a progress update. I already see heads. Wheat's heading out. Look at that. Cool. That's good, but that means Dad's gonna get real busy in the sprayer because he's got to spray wheat in a couple of days. All right, well, the heads are just starting to emerge, but they are there. Looks pretty good. We got a little speckling on this flag leaf. I don't know if that's disease or fertilizer burn from when we put that second shot of nitrogen on, but it got sprayed with a fungicide, so the disease should be fairly controlled, I would think. It looks like our burn is mostly down lower, which is good because you don't want to hurt this top leaf. I'm happy with this. It looks pretty good. So, do you guys remember last year when we took a corn plant apart and dissected it? Let's try that again with this wheat. I'll do the corn later in the year, but let's pull a plant or two and let's take them back to the office where it's cool, and we'll slice the stem open and try and look inside of it a little bit. Okay, so here's our wheat plant, and wheat has what we call tillers, and so I don't know that these stems are all from one seed, but it's possible. There's usually one main stem, likely this one, and then the rest of it are tillers where they kind of branch out and tiller and put more shoots on, and they will all develop a head. The one is usually just a little bit ahead of and bigger than the side shoots. So you can see we've got a few of them here that are poking heads out, and then we've got some like this one where the head's not quite coming out yet. So we're gonna go ahead and separate these, and then we'll cut one or two of them apart here. Okay, so this one here is our biggest, so we'll start with that one. Push these out of the way. You can see we've got the leaves here. These two have pretty much died off. 1, 2, and this one is starting to die off. 3, 4, 5, and then the flag leaf is this one up here on the very top. The wheat stem at some point in April does what we call jointing, where instead of being just like a blade of grass, it gets a hollow cord stem with a joint. So here's a joint. I'm going to strip all these leaves off and you'll be able to see them. Okay, well, there's your exploded wheat plant. Not quite as impressive as the corn, but we've got our bottom leaves, and then all of the joints have a leaf up to the flag leaf here. And then here's our head that's starting to emerge. This must be a bearded variety. You can see the awns here that are attached to each little spikelet. Each spikelet could have 3 or 4 kernels in it. And this is where all the grain is that we will end up harvesting. Okay, I think I got this one split the whole length. Dang, look at that. I did good. Yeah, I missed on the head, but that's okay. I kind of got it. So there you can see the hollow stem. And then right up to where the head is. Cool. There's a cross section. Okay, let's attempt to look at this head a little bit closer. You can see each one of these little sets here is a what we call a spikelet. And I'm gonna try and pull one of those apart for you to show you what's inside of there, but there are multiple kernels in each one of those, and kind of the biggest determining factor on whether we have crappy wheat, average wheat, good wheat, or great wheat is how many kernels are in each one of those spikelets. If you can get 4 kernels in each one of them, you're gonna have really good wheat. Well, I don't know that you can see much, but I think I actually isolated a wheat flower right there. Technically, I think the whole head is part of the flower, and the anthers come hang out and shed the pollen and stuff here. But there's not any kernels to find because it hasn't pollinated yet. So no way to tell, really, but that's kind of it pulled apart. Yep, so I threw my magnifying glass on my camera there. Pretty sure those are the actual anthers that will shed the pollen here in just a couple of days. Pretty cool. You know you can't see anything. Whew. Magnifying glass for a camera lens. How awesome is that? Because you can't focus on anything. There. Yeah. Pretty neat. Bill's moving fields and needed a ride, and it looks like Brock is just finishing up and gonna head out. All right, I was just looking through what little bit of plot seed we've got left here. Let my agronomist know what's here so he can have that. I also sorted through my open plot seed bean bags. We dumped all of the Enlist beans in this box. Those are all Extend Flex. They're a different herbicide trait platform. I don't really want to mix them. So Phil's gonna plant them out eventually. That's what we've got left, 2 boxes. I don't know, honestly, if we need both of them, so we'll see. But I'm gonna let Phil work on or finish planting out what he needs to do. He's got 96 acres to do in the field that I just picked him up from, and then another 60 somewhere else. So we're close. I'm coming for you this weekend. We're coming for it. Rumor has it they are coming at 5 a.m. to pour the concrete tomorrow morning. So by the time we get here, it should be done. Well, it's almost 6. I'm going home, I guess. I don't have much to do, so tomorrow we should get our part for that tractor and get that put back together, and maybe we'll side dress some corn tomorrow. I don't know, we'll see. Also, our backhoe didn't come today. They called and said they made a scheduling mistake. It's coming tomorrow morning. Okay. And so we got a lot going on tomorrow between the house and the backhoe and trying to fix this tractor and start side dressing, and we should finish planting beans, and Dad should get a lot of spraying done. So all good things. But yeah, I'm going home. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great rest of your night. Tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. It's been a full week here. We put in a whole full, as much as I could possibly work in a week. I pretty much did it this week. So it's good. Things are slowing down a little bit. See you tomorrow.